This short ceremony, and another held simultaneously in Brisbane, marked the completion of the biggest corporate takeover in our country's history. A takeover which sees Australia's BHP lift its sights from Australia to the world. BHP has achieved what many market pundits said could not be done. In a $2.4 billion takeover deal, unrivaled for complexity as well as enormous in size, it has brought the highly successful US mining and exploration company Utah International into BHP as a new division, and in the process has bought back for Australia a sizable and profitable part of the farm. As only one part of a much larger deal, 6 of the most valuable coking coal properties in central Queensland are now largely in Australian hands. These Bowen Basin properties stand as probably the most cost-efficient producers of their kind in the world, at least as far as the Southeast Asian market is concerned. The 6 Utah coal mines are now linked with BHP's own Gregory coal mine in the same area. Together, these mines form, in the words of a leading independent evaluator, the single biggest coking coal export operation in the world. Blackwater, Goonyella, Peak Downs, Saraji, Norwich Park, Gregory. These 6 mines are now grouped together under 2 joint venture arrangements, managed by the Utah Development Company, now a wholly owned subsidiary of BHP. Yet these arrangements, impressive though they are, and with all the benefits they will bring to Australians, stand as only one part of this $2.4 billion transaction. When takeover talks started towards the end of 1982, BHP also had its sights on Utah's rich overseas resources assets and the springboard they would provide for even further expansion. Today's BHP, the oil and gas, iron and steel and minerals giant, was founded in the 19th century to win base metals from Broken Hill. Utah was founded by Mormon brothers at the start of the century and was a major railroads and public works contractor before turning to minerals exploration and development. What brought these 2 giants together? We start at the beginning, in September 1982, when John Burlingame, a vice chairman of General Electric of the US, paid a call on BHP's chairman, Sir James McNeil. General Electric had bought Utah International in an American takeover deal only 7 years before. Now, said John Burlingame, GE was looking to sell. In its 7 years as a GE subsidiary, Utah had been a highly successful resources company. But its operations did not fit into GE's general corporate strategy for the future. BHP, though, was seeking a means of gaining a foothold in new territories. The purchase of Utah would fit into the corporate strategy BHP was already adopting, as it expanded from its traditional role as iron and steel heavyweight into its modern identity as a minerals and energy giant as well.
You can never be sure in business.
By November 1982, firm discussions had started between top-level teams of negotiators from both sides. Under tight secrecy, ideas became proposals, and the serious horse trading began. The initial package of assets that GE wanted to sell was too large. The price would have been prohibitive. Some assets were eliminated from the takeover parcel, and proposals to share ownership of others were developed. Slowly, the $2.4 billion deal took shape. At the end of January 1983, a memorandum of intent was signed. Secrecy was dropped, and the takeover plans were announced in Australia and America. The plans were greeted with some surprise by the financial community. BHP shares fell for a brief time on Australian markets until the nature of the agreement was understood. In America, GE stocks rose. BHP seemed to be faced with the task of buying a company bigger in market terms than itself. However, what BHP had done was to agree to buy Utah on condition that it could rearrange ownership of the Queensland coal interests and secure the finance it needed. BHP was determined that it would fulfill these conditions and that the overseas assets of Utah would be wholly owned by BHP and its people would join the BHP group. These are the overseas assets. 3 steaming coal ventures in the US, the Navajo and San Juan mines in New Mexico, and the Sierra mines in the Appalachian Mountains. The largest of these is the Navajo open cut mine, with reserves of 1,050 million short tons of coal. It operates on indefinite leases obtained from the Navajo Indian Nation. That Indian Nation now receives royalties from the coal won from land once used to graze sheep. Utah's assets also includes the Island Copper venture on Vancouver Island, Canada, which is a gold, copper and molybdenum mine selling concentrate to Japan and Taiwan. Waiting in the wings are undeveloped properties, including a half share in what could become one of the most efficient copper mines in the world, the Escondida copper prospect in Chile. The scope of Escondida can be gained from its reserves. It holds about 545 million tons of ore containing 2.16% copper. This makes it a large, high-grade deposit by any standard. To this resources parcel can be added an aragonite mine in the Bahamas, a ready-to-go tungsten mine in Nevada, a steaming coal deposit in Africa, a fleet of 4 coal bulk ships, coal prospect in Indonesia, and an iron sands project in New Zealand. It's clear that the purchase of Utah International has in one step taken Australia's BHP out into the world. But BHP has acquired not just the Utah corporate body, but the blood that courses through its veins. Coming into the BHP fold are 6,100 employees here and overseas, and a proven Utah management team, which will help spearhead BHP's drive for further overseas expansion in the years to come. Just as important, BHP has gained their experience in working and carrying on business in other parts of the world. Experience and assets that could take years to build from scratch. To buy Utah, BHP had to find partners for the Australian coal mines. Only by finding partners for those rich Bowen Basin mines could BHP find sufficient equity and loan capital to make the entire takeover plan become reality. 2 separate joint ventures had to be created before Utah's central Queensland coal mines could be linked with BHP's Gregory mine to create the new entities. And it was a sign of General Electric's keenness to have BHP's bold bid succeed that at a crucial stage in negotiations, GE agreed to become an equity partner in both these joint ventures. The biggest of these 2 joint ventures controls 5 producing mines: Blackwater, Goonyella, Peak Downs, Saraji, and Norwich Park. It also controls 2 undeveloped prospects, Dornier and Isaac River, as well as the Hay Point port. As this chart shows, BHP and the newly formed Queensland Coal Trust, a publicly listed trust in which all Australians can share, are the major partners in this joint venture, along with General Electric, Mitsubishi, the AMP Society, Bell Resources, and Pan Continental Mining. All the joint venturers, bar Mitsubishi, are also partners in the second joint venture, which covers the Gregory mine. BHP has now concluded the biggest takeover deal in Australia's history and the 8th biggest deal in world history. Is this BHP's single biggest expansion move? Such things are comparative. But the Utah takeover ranks with BHP's decision early this century to diversify from base metal mining at Broken Hill into producing iron and steel. And it ranks also with BHP's move into oil and gas exploration in Bass Strait in partnership with Esso Australia, a move that brought Australia close to self-sufficiency in those precious resources. At one stage, when asked why BHP should seek to buy Utah's mineral assets during a time of worldwide recession and falling prices, BHP's chairman, Sir James McNeil, replied, "The time to buy straw hats is in winter." BHP's directors are not, in speech, extravagant men. Or he could have added that come summer, those straw hats will be flying jubilantly in the air.